Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the Game Dev Tutorials. Today we're going to work on a skill menu. It's just super simple, as simple as we can. I'm not going to do drag and drop stuff, though that's what you should develop. It just takes way too long to get this in. Maybe we'll get to it at some point. It's a long one, and it's something that I honestly recommend you guys try to do at least once or twice before I have a chance to do a video on it. So the steps are to create the menu class, and then we're going to add a button to the UI to toggle it. We're also going to put the menu into UI. We're going to edit UI to show the menu when it's active, and we are going to add code to edit the hero's skill bar. That'll also be in the menu. We're going to have to pass in heroes to UI as a hero to UI as well. Minor deal, but it is what it is. Before I forget, guys, make sure you hit the like button if you like these videos that I've been putting out. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. Check out Discord, and I have Discord up right now. So, that's not what I meant to do. But I'm in there all the time, just sitting there. So come in, have a chat, and if you have any questions, make sure you ask. Let's try this again. That one. Okay. So, first things first, let's create our menu. Well, we actually need to create a folder. So, inside world, add a folder for UI. And then inside UI, we're going to add a new skill menu. Give it our namespace. Let's add our includes. As soon as it pops up, we'll shrink them down. Good. Public. Okay. Public skill menu. We'll get to what goes in there in a second. Public virtual void update. Public virtual void draw. Eventually we'll probably do like a menu class, a more generic menu class. But I kind of have a schedule I'm trying to produce for both Patreon request as well as I have a goal for each 10 video segments, if you guys haven't noticed. So I'm trying to put together the sets of 10 so that it ends up in a good spot for each 10th video where I release the solution. Okay, so we have this inside here. We are going to need a few things. Well, first we need the variables, right? And then we'll worry about what goes in there. So public bool active. That's going to be crucial. We're going to need a background. Then we're going to need a selected skill. You'll see that in a minute. This is actually something you should replace. This shouldn't be here in a well done skill menu because drag and drop wouldn't need this, at least the way I do it. But for this case we are going to have a very simple version of how to get a skill into a skill bar. And it is, I don't know that it's found in any game ever because it's not a good system, but it is a system that works and it'll help you guys to test your game better. And that's what I'm trying to do here. We've been having questions about skill bars and how to get the skills organized and how it's becoming, some people are saying it's becoming too cluttered and hard to manage in your code base. That's what this stuff is for, is so that you can manage that stuff in your code base. Okay. So in here, all we're going to need to pass in is hero. And then we'll create our background as well. But first, let's set hero to hero. Cool. And then our background, right? So BKG equals new animated 2D. Cool. There's that. I just as a placeholder, new vector 2, new vector 2, new vector 2. Ooh, not version. What the heck? Okay. Frames is just 1. I think I have to put in color too. Yeah, color. Maybe gray. Let's do that. Why not? Let's see. Width and height. 300, 400. So it's a little taller than it is wide. That's pretty standard for a menu screen. And then we just want to stick it in the center of the screen. So globals.screen width over 2. Globals.screen height over 2. And then we'll just use solid because why not? Obviously this needs replaced. Anything that's done with solid in the game needs to be replaced. You should not have a game that uses this in a release state. In fact, you should do a search for it when you start to think that your game is ready for testing, which, by the way, you should do very early. You know, guys, I am thinking about, I'm going to take 2 seconds and say, I am thinking about doing kind of talks on specific topics without code, or just by showing code without typing code, and just talking about individual topics like on the indie game community. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know in the comments, please. That would be something I kind of want to do, and I'm feeling like getting the 2 videos out is just too much, but I think if I do a tutorial video and a talking video, I can get 2 videos out a week. The talking just doesn't take as much time to prepare, whereas the tutorials do. Anyway, yeah, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks. Alright, back to what we're doing here. Alright, so in here we are going to do stuff only if it's active. Whoops. Same goes for the draw. So we'll start with that. So if active, that's the basis for this. The other thing we got to be able to do is we got to be able to toggle the active state. So public virtual void toggle active. And that one's easy. It's just active equals not active. Done. And then in here, when you toggle it to active or inactive, either one doesn't matter. We're going to say selected skill equals null. So basically we're resetting our selective skill when we do the selected skill. Now again, remember, this is something that if you have a proper drag and drop system shouldn't be needed in this class, but since we're not implementing a proper drag and drop system, which would probably be a, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 tutorial series just to get all the stuff you need in order to do a proper drag and drop system. So again, probably don't need that, but oftentimes you will find things that need to be reset when you're toggling active. So this is a common thing to do. This just in this case is not something we really need a lot of. Okay, so in here we're going to say vkg.draw, and this one's just vector2.0 because we're just drawing it where we want it to, where we already told it to draw. Okay, so we're going to leave this for now. We'll come back to this. Okay, let's get UI set up, get our pipeline done, and then we can get in here and start testing it. So UI, and we can walk through it in a kind of slower step-by-step fashion. So UI doesn't have hero and it needs hero. So let's get that. And then here, this is slightly sloppy. And the reason this is slightly sloppy is this is your UI class, and it probably should just have, well, different games do it different ways. Even different games I've done it different ways. But the way for this game that I would probably do it is I'd pass in the player class into here. But I'll leave that up to you guys. I'm going to do the most generic version so that I don't kind of cut you guys off from your own creativity. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. So now we have hero, and in hero we're going to have in UI we're going to have our skill menu. You know, actually we don't need to save this. We don't need to save that. That's dumb. Let's not save that. Let's not do that. We do still need to pass it in. We just don't need to save it, because it's in here anyway, right? We're passing it in here in each location. We just need it here. So, all right. Skill menu, skill menu, skill menu equals new skill menu, and then we'll put a hero there. Okay. So it is common for a menu to need to know the focus of itself, of the menu itself. So in this case, we're doing a skill menu, so obviously hero is the focus of that. It is not always that you need a focus, but it is common that you need a focus for your menu. From there, we need to update it and draw it. So skill menu update, and because we're testing active inside, we don't have to worry about putting an if around it. I'm torn between testing for active inside or testing for active outside, but in this case we tested for active inside already. Here we go. So we don't need to test for it outside. That's just the way it is. And then skill menu dot draw. Why am I drawing it here as opposed to somewhere else? Well, we want to draw it below the pause overlay, but above everything else. So that's what this position is. So yeah, that's that. Doesn't have a constructor that does that. So this one's going to be user.hero. And just to make sure, it is initiated in here, hero is, so we have it here. So we're not passing in a null or anything crazy like that. Okay. Now let's see what we have. Oh, we need the button. Skill menu. We need a button. Almost forgot the button. Not skill menu, UI. And there's a button, and then this one's just going to be skill menu btn. We're going to copy this mamma jamma here. We're going to paste it. We are going to switch out the name. All this is fine. And then here we're going to say skills. And reset is not correct. So maybe down here we're going to have public virtual void toggle skill screen or skill menu. Let's do that. And then in here you're going to need object info. Put that in here. And then down here we're going to have to say skill menu dot toggle active. Now, could you have just put skill menu dot toggle active in here? Yes, you could have, provided that you add object info to its parameters. But this allows us to do something in this class if we need to as well. This style is more versatile. Even if you never end up, because you don't always know exactly everything that's happening in your code, or you're not planned ahead a year or whatever oftentimes. So making your code more versatile like this will save you time in the long run oftentimes. Okay, so let's see where we're at now. Oh, we got to put that through. Skill menu button. This is used. Here's fine. Oh. There we go. And then no, it's not fine because we didn't put it in here, so we've got to put something else in here. New vector 2, and then bottom right hand corner, that's where I'm going to put it. So globals dot screen width minus 100, globals dot screen height minus 100. I don't know if that's perfect, but it's good enough for our purposes. Let's copy that, paste it here, and switch this to draw. Okay. Now let's see where we're at. So we should be able to toggle our menu, but there won't be anything on it. That's what I'm expecting to see, and provided that that's where we're at. But it's not pausing the game. So that is good. We can toggle our menu, which is good. But toggling our menu isn't pausing the game. So, and UI dot skill menu dot active, and we want a not there. Okay, so cool. The other little tidbit that we want to do here potentially is we want to update our UI before that, because now when we toggle that, we don't want to fire something. We don't want to fire our fireball. So this will toggle it on, and this will run the code. Okay, so let's check that out again, make sure that's working. And then we're going to click here. Still fired it, but oh well, that's minor. We can't fire now, which is good. So, alright, we'll accept that for now. Let's see where we're at. Alright, we have a blank screen. So what do we want on our blank screen that is now currently blank? Skill bar. No. Skill menu. So in here we haven't done anything. So obviously we're going to need the skills from hero. That's why we passed them in. So let's start with that. So we are going to be saying for int I equals 0, I less than hero dot skills dot count I plus plus. And then we are going to be saying, well, let's draw them first. That would probably be better. That way we can see them. So hero dot skills I dot icon dot draw, and then we have bkg dot pose minus bkg dims over 2 plus, I like spaces, I need to put spaces in, easier for me to read. New vector 2. Okay, and then here we're gonna, I don't know, so we're right now we're at the top left of the menu. So this is the middle of the menu. We subtract half the dims of it, that puts us at the top left of the menu. So from the top left of the menu, we probably want to go down like 30, and then 30. That's our start position now. Now, what do we do for the rest of this? So we want to wrap this horizontally and vertically, because you might have like 30 skills, so we want to wrap it horizontally and vertically. So for right now, I'm just going to do 4 a row. I think that'll be a good fit for it. You can adjust this number whenever you want to. To do this, you say I mod 4 times 50. Okay, so what does this mean? When I is 0, then we are 0. When it's 1, we're 1. When it's 2, we're 2. When it's 3, we're 3. But when we're 4, we're 0. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, and then, because that's 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, and it wraps back to here. 4, 5, 6, 7, wrap. 8, 9, 10, 11, wrap. That's what this mod does. Okay? And then on this side here, we are going to do I divided by 4 times 50. And because those are integers, they're going to concatenate. So it's going to say 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. You see? So that's what we're going to have. This will get you... This code you're going to use a lot for UI work. So commit it to memory. You're modding on your X and you're dividing on your Y in order to have a Western style what do you even call that? The way that text goes, right? We go left to right, top to bottom, right? Obviously, if you're Japanese, it's different. So if you want to do it differently in those circumstances, then you would change this. But if you want a Western style display, this is how you're going to do it. Okay, so we have that. So now when we run it, we should see it. Let's see. We should see both our skills. This is why I wanted 2 skills. Okay, we see both our skills. That's good. We probably could go to 5. Let's go to 5 just because. That should fit just fine. So let's go to 5. It won't make a difference right now, but it'll make a difference for you guys if you're adding a ton of skills. Cool. Alright, so this code is going to be reused up here. So up here, what we're going to do is we're going to test for hovering first. And we're going to test for these things hovering and clicking separately so that it's easier to debug. It is a pain, to say the least, to debug hovering at times, especially as your hover gets super complicated, because it inevitably will. With zooming and your UI being separate from your world space and all the different kinds of things. There's a lot of things that hovering can do. You might be hovering by pixel on one thing and hovering by a bounding box on another. You might be hovering based on the art box on another. You might be it can be a pain to debug your hover at times. So I am going to do these separately. So let's do this. Let's do this. So this asks for a hover, and we're going to use the exact same code so that it's in the exact same spot. And then we're going to test for click. So first we're testing for hover, then we're testing for click. Now if I want to test to see if something got into hover, I put a breakpoint right there, and then when it hovers, and I'll show you that in just a second. This is not important for the functionality of what we're doing today. This is important for debugging. And before somebody in the comments tells me, Chris, you could have put both of those in the same if statement. I know. I'm aware. I did it this way for debugging purposes, and you'll see why in a second. So, selected skill equals hero dot skills I dot icon dot hover, and I am going to take this. Oh no, I'm sorry, I went too far. I am going to take this a step further than what I did in my prompt, and what I'm going to do here is say hero dot. We'll do selected skill since it's now dot icon dot color equals color dot blue. Else. Oh, and we don't need to click on it either. No, we'll just do the selected one. Okay, and then so if it's not hovered over, then we're going to say this thing, same thing back to white. So this is, hopefully it works. This will show you which one you have selected, right? So there's that. And then we'll do the next bit here. So let's test it again, because we like testing things early and often. We don't like just going crazy with code. Ooh, and we broke the world. Let's see what we did. Yeah, that was dumb. That was real dumb. It's this, not that. Okay, so skills hero.skills. Not .I, but just I. Little things, right? Little thing. Oh, you know what? I could have just let that go through. Whatever. All right, let's try again. Well, all right. So first things first, let's show you why I put in the thing. So let's put a breakpoint in, and then we're going to hover, and it's going to tell me, okay, you hovered over I0. See? That worked good. So if these were in the same line, I would have had to also click to get it to do it. So now because it's not clicking, it should skip past this breakpoint and go straight to this breakpoint. I'm going to push F5, and it did. So I know it didn't make it in here. So that was helpful for from a debugging standpoint. I'm not quite sure why this didn't work, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so now I'm going to see that it gets assigned, right? So let's click. Boom, it got assigned. So that's odd that didn't draw. Huh. I think it's going to have to be something I deal with later. That's a bug for sure. That should have drawn blue, but it didn't. So I'm going to let it be. I'm going to leave it here because it's not hurting anything, and I want that code to work. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to say, and watch this, I can't code, right, because it's running. Well, if I breakpoint it, now I can code again. So the game is still running, but it's in a breakpoint. There are certain things you can't do in a breakpoint, but the code that we're going to add is totally legal. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this sucker. So this is pushing buttons again. We did this the other day. I'm going to do 4 of them. You guys can loop them. You guys can do what you want with them. But in here, I don't need to do 4 yet. I am going to do 4, but I want to have the correct code copied. So we don't need any of this. What we need is hero.skillbar, skills set, I think. Public. There we go. Mistakes were made. Alright, so hero.skillbar. Nope, not set skill. Hero.skillbar. Dot slots. In this case it's 0. Dot skill button equals new skill button. We're doing it this way because only the skills that have are filled in have skill buttons. You could, if you had all of the slots filled with skill buttons already, you could just change out the skill. That's not the case, so we're not going to do that right now. So put all our vector 2s out. 1, 2, 3 of them. And then we need hero.set_skill. Ooh, no, I'm doing it backwards. Set skill. And then we need. Do we not? We don't have frame in this one. Okay, let's remove that. Okay, and then here we're gonna have selected skill. So we set our selective skill, and now we're putting it in there. Now this is not the greatest, way to do this. In fact, it's a poor way to do this. Do 40-40 because that's what we did on our last icon setup, and then here we're going to say 0-0 because that gets edited on its own, and then here we're going to say 2D misc solid. Okay, so let's take that. Two, 3, 4. I'll let you guys do the rest. And this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we can set these variables. We have something broken somewhere. Edits were made to code that you can. Oh. Okay, like I told you, there's some things you can't do, so hit restart, it'll restart the code base for you. Usually that's not the case. I don't know actually what was illegal there. Alright, so this is working. Good. Congratulations. Alright, so I'm going to select the eye, or the blink, and put it to 4. There it is. Now I'm going to select fire and put it to 4. Okay? So now I'm going to select this and put it to 3. So now I have those. Now let's make sure they work, right? Let's make sure they're not broken. Alright, well the blink worked. And the fire worked. Okay? So that is what we're going for. We can now set our skill bar based on a menu. That was the goal here. Between the skill bar that we did last time and the menu to set it now, you guys should be able to test all kinds of skills just by creating the skill, adding it to your hero, and then you can use the skill menu to set it to your skill bar, so it's easy for testing. And then you can test different things at different times. You don't have to make sure that you're manually assigning all of these skills to the right skill bar before you start, all that kind of stuff. So this should speed up your testing. It should give you some idea of what a menu should do. This is a super simple menu, and eventually I'm pretty sure that we will go through creating menus. So rest assured we'll get to that more. But this was more so to rectify some of the concerns that you guys are having about your code bases getting too hard to test and too just clumsy. So hopefully this helps, guys. I'm going to, I believe, unless I change my mind, do essentially a code cleanup next week. I am going to go over debugging a little bit like I did today. I want you guys to learn to debug. Debugging is super important. Being a good debugger is the difference between being a novice programmer and an intermediate programmer, in my book. Because a novice, they learn to code. You guys that are novices, not all of you are, but you're learning to code. You're learning to understand what you're doing. You're absorbing information like crazy. But oftentimes you have a hard time learning to test your code. I'll be honest, in college I didn't learn to test code well until I was like a senior. And that's a failure of myself for not reaching out to figure it out, but also for teachers not going through it well enough. Now, some of my friends learned to debug much earlier than that, and they have maybe different teachers or something. I don't know. I just got unlucky or something. But learning to debug your code is huge. If you can quickly debug your code, then you're going to be in a good shape. But anyway, guys, I hope this helps, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good day. Good weekend.